Some people are sick to the gills of hearing me talk about South by Southwest. Clearly you are not there yet. But by the end of the hour you probably will. For those of you who are not quite sure what it's about, the festival South by Southwest began 25 years ago. It's now the same age as me. Thanks. But the interactive component is only 8 or 9 years old. So it actually started as a music festival. A couple of really broke musicians in Austin said, hey, we want to put on a festival for our friends. And it has just gone from there. It began a film festival, I think maybe about 15 years ago, when Sundance became too commercialised for independent cinema. So it sort of took on that mantle, and a bunch of people premiere their indie films at South by now. Interactive emerged as a little offshoot maybe 8, 9 years ago, as I mentioned. It is now clearly the largest part of the festival. So South by goes for almost 2 weeks. And what happens is they run film for the whole 2 weeks. Concurrently, interactive is the first week. And music is the second week. And then there's a weird crossover. There's a day when there's the town is filled with people in expensive eyeglasses and people in leather pants. How big is South by? And that's what everybody's calling it once you've been there. 30,000 people went this year. That is a 40% jump on last year. So they're calling it South by's breakout year for interactive. What sort of people are there? Somebody's notes, they said, oh, here's his visionaries, monetisers, podcasters, Twitterers, thought leaders, video bloggers, developers, and that, which you can't read, I assure you, is social media douchebags. There was also a big backlash against marketing douchebags. There was actually an organised panel saying, help save South by from marketing douchebaggery. How many marketing douchebags were there? Well, plenty. Because all these guys were here. Look at the brands and look at the money that got spent at this event. So this was, once upon an underground sort of teak nerd geek festival. Chevrolet, major sponsors, Pepsi Max, major sponsor, Miller Lite. What an edgy underground brand those guys are. CNN rolled in for a week and set up a broadcast facility. Broadcast there. Conan O'Brien did a couple of shows from there. Celebrities turned up, including Ashton Kutcher. I think so he could reduce the time between him writing a tweet and all his Twitter followers, all 30,000 of them, reading them, and reduce that distance. Bunch of bands, obviously, because of the music festival, but a ton of these bands turned up for the, or celebrities turned up for the interactive week and then left. They weren't there for film and they weren't there for music. Net, what this means is that digital, interactive, has gone mainstream in terms of the branding landscape, at least in the US. This is not a fringe movement anymore. When you get, I should give you a sense of the money that these sorts of people were spending. When you get a sense of that and the sort of audiences that they are trying to reach, and they're using these kind of channels, predominantly to influence the influencers, as it were. So the Guardian bowled up. They sent a whole team over from the UK who cohabited with the people from the Austin Chronicle, and they were producing sort of festival newspapers every couple of days. To cover it and give, I guess, a UK perspective as well. So the point I just want to make there is not niche, big brands, big money, very mainstream for what used to be a digital geek fest. It was really hard work. I would like you all to recognise that. And to explain that, there are seats down the front. To explain that, I've constructed a formula to tell you exactly how much hard work it was. Let me break it down for you. There were 5 days, Thursday to Monday. So I was working the weekend, thank you very much. 6 sessions a day scheduled, starting at 9:30, going through to 6 in the evening. Times that by, on average, about 25 choices you could make at every session. You could attend one, and there were 24 on average, sometimes 40 things that you were going to miss out. Add to that the horrifying spectre of at least 30 parties to choose from every night. Minus 45 minutes that it took twice to go from our luxurious cardboard box by the side of Interstate 35 into the centre of Austin and back out. If you haven't booked a hotel for Austin by November for South by, which happened in March, there were rumours of a couple of spare rooms floating around the Hilton. They wanted 800 a night at that point if you were a walk-up when the festival started. Now divide all of that, that's a fairly heavy workload, granted, divide that by the 16-hour time difference that meant when I stumbled home at 2 in the morning, All of my colleagues were up and on the email, ready to go. And when you chat, you break that equation down and you wind up with an average of 4.2 hours sleep per night. Brutal. That wasn't the most difficult factor. There was the degree of difficulty of coping with the food.